Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Players Own YouTube channel. And the slot machine, slot ball, it has arrived in the Premier League and it is doing very, very well with Liverpool so far this season. They have started the season like a house on fire. They've scored 7 goals, conceded none, and 3 wins from 3 in the Premier League, equal top alongside also high flyers Manchester City as well. It's been a fantastic start to the reign of Arne Slot. People questioned him, people doubted Liverpool, but from what I saw in pre-season, I was very, very happy, and it's continued on here into the Premier League season. You know, you can have that pressure of following up a Jurgen Klopp and the success and all the trophies that have come before, but Arne Slot has come in and sort of characterised this new Liverpool team. It is calm. It's not casual, but it's very relaxed. But it's doing the thing and doing it right. And that's what Arne Slot's come in and influencing this Liverpool side. I talked a lot last season about Liverpool 3.0. Jurgen Klopp's initial side was that energetic, heavy metal, counter-press, energetic system that, yes, he would concede the odd goal here and there, but he'd also score a fair chunk as well. Then there was a second iteration of that team, a few more changes, less seen of the likes of James Milner, out goes the Emre Can's, in comes the Fabinho's, Roberto Firmino, Mo Salah remain, but there's a few more changes at the back. Joe Gomez is a part of a back line now. Ibrahim Konate is a part of a back line now. And it was refreshed, the Liverpool side. Still that same heavy metal, high pressing, a lot of energy, a bit more emphasis on possession, but still remaining playing in the wide areas. And I hinted at it a lot last season. I was very big on Liverpool last season. We saw how close they went in the league, 8 or 9 games away from really taking it right towards the end there. But they started to change their mould, change their style of football, and Jurgen Klopp was trying to change his outlook on how he wanted his Liverpool side to be played. The signings of Alexis McAllister, Wataru Endo, familiar face like Jordan Henderson leaving the football club, Fabinho leaving the football club. It was now Virgil van Dijk at the back alongside Yael Kwanzaa. You led less of Andy Robertson, more of like a Connor Bradley. And it was a team that was evolving. It was different. Darwin Núñez up top instead of Roberto Firmino. I think the big players were the midfield guys. So Bosley at the 10. You got the number 8 being Alexis McAllister and Wataru Endo at the 6. And there's a slight more focus idea around more possessional football. That's what Bosley is all about. That's what Alexis McAllister is all about. That's what Liverpool were about for a lot of portions of last season. Yes, they would still press, but it wasn't the same chaotic, high-energy pressing that almost flourished without the ball in the early Jurgen Klopp stages. It was a willingness to go and play in possession and try to take games on by winning games with 60 or 65% possession, and that's the outlook how they'd go on to play some of their football last season. And then Jurgen Klopp leaves, and there's a massive whole field who can take over from Jurgen Klopp. Liverpool found the perfect man in Arne Slot. He is someone that plays similar to Jurgen Klopp, and he likes to press, but he's a very, very smart man, and he's got his team, his style suits what Liverpool have. I said it on the podcast on Monday. The reason why Liverpool have not made any signings, or only the Chiesa signing, is because if Arne Slot to come in and build a whole team from scratch, he'd pick a lot of the players he's already got at Liverpool. These players and the system that was started to be embedded last season, the Liverpool version 3 is what I've called it, Arne Slot, that's his system. It's less focused on high energetic pressing, high up the pitch, to more about keeping your shape, holding your position, and a willingness to play in the middle of the park. No longer is it a reliance on Trent Alexander-Arnold and Andy Robertson bombing up the flanks. It is a willingness to go and get the ball to midfielders, let them do their thing, control the pace of the game in midfield, and play from there, play in tight areas, play with pace and speed of ball movement rather than pressing, the speed of pressing and getting up opposition. So it's a slight change. There's still key factors there. Pressing still a part of the system. Holding that high line, the way they play out the back is quite similar in many regards to what Jurgen Klopp implemented, but it's not as aggressive. Instead of heavy metal, it's calm, it's soothing, it's easy on the eye, and I guess it's the purest style. It's very clean, it's sophisticated. That's Arne Slot's system. I feel like what was embedded last season, some of the players that were brought across, Arne Slot has come in and refined it to his liking, and they are thriving this season. Some of the stats, as I said, 7 goals scored, none conceded. They're not looking as leaky at the back because they're not being so aggressive in pursuit of winning the ball back and being so aggressive out of the ball when trying to quickly spring onto teams. They're holding their shape, they're holding their line, they're holding their positioning, and as such, Liverpool looking so solid defensively. Van Dijk, Konate looking fantastic. Andy Robertson back at his best. That's a key start for me. They've got fluid ball movement at the middle of the park. I'll talk about the players in a little bit, but those three midfield right now are killing it. Yes, there was a big need for a number 6, but with the way the three of them are playing right now, there's no real need to get number 6 in. If they all stay fit, they're still going to be one of the top teams in the Premier League in terms of midfield trios. They've got an average of 58% possession, 88% pass accuracy, 50% accuracy of long balls. There's a willingness to play a long ball now, to hit the diagonals. The pass accuracy is through the roof. It's very, very good. And the possession stat is looking higher and higher as the games go on. They are dictating games. They're owning games in the midfield area. And on the weekend, to beat Manchester United, they absolutely dominated the midfield battle. Yes, Casemiro had a very poor game, but Kobbie Mainoo was made to look second-rate. Toby Collier, young kid, thrown to the wolves. He was absolutely out of his depth against the Liverpool midfield. Bruno Fernandes never saw the football. The United forwards couldn't get any touches because of how good that Liverpool midfield was. They are controlling games. They are dictating it with their possession, their pace of ball movement, the speed in and out of possession. They've got that there. They're controlling the middle of the park. Then I look at these sort of stats as well. 7.3 interceptions per game. They're still winning the ball back at a high rate and only had the one error leading to a shot so far this season coming from Yarrell Quansah against Ipswich Town. It is very neat. It is very tidy. It might not be that same up and back energetic system like Jurgen Klopp, but it works. And I think this is the way forward for Liverpool. This is what this team needed. A fresh start, a fresh face, and a very smart mind. Before I get into some of the players, Arne Slot, I think a lot of people have been sort of blowing up on the social medias. The way he picked apart Erik ten Hag's tactics from the last 2 to 3 seasons in the space of 1 minute. He said, yes, we know they like to press. It was a midfield press last season. This year, it is a forward press. It is a press in the shape of a 4-4-2. If we play through that front line and let the midfielders chase ball, we know we can get through them. What do we see on the weekend? Casemiro chasing ball, unable to keep up. Kobbie Mainoo looking slow, running through mud because they played through the initial press. They knew the press would come from the front for Manchester United in that 4-4-2 shape. And once they got past that initial line, they were through. He said, we know the fullbacks stay high. Dalot, Nasser Mazraoui are creative fullbacks. We know they get high at the pitch. I told Diaz and Salah to stay high at the pitch. What happened? Diaz and Salah caused so many problems for Manchester United in this game and had too much space in the final third. Arne Slot picked apart Erik ten Hag's side and explained it in a minute, so simply. And he's that sort of brain. He sees flaws in other teams' sides, but what he does best, and the best thing for me, is his system that he plays is so unique. It has incorporated parts of Klopp, parts of himself, and parts of what this squad needs and the strength of this side, that it's unique to any other team in the competition. It's not Arsenal or Man City's possession. It's not the same pressing like we see from the likes of Manchester and the willingness. That's how they're going to win the ball back, with pressing. It's not the chaotic and individualised system that Chelsea is. It is a team collaborative system that is working to a T. And you know who's thriving under it? The midfield three. Now I'm going to touch on some of these players. Dominic Szoboszlai, 7.53 average match rating this season. Well and truly up from last season, averaging 64 touches per game, up from 57 last season. He's already created 2 big chances this season versus 7 for every single game last year. He underperformed XA, so expected assists last season, by 4.06 and is already outperforming his expected assists by 1. Look at key passes. He made the 2.7 per game this season versus 1.7 last season. He's at a 93% pass accuracy this year versus 87% last season. And the big one for me, 83% accurate long balls versus 68% accurate long balls last season. I saw it again in the first game against Ipswich. I was pretty critical on it at the start of the game, but we saw how it developed. Liverpool playing long balls now as well. That's another avenue to their game as well. Yes, there were a lot of a bar line up and down the flanks type of team with Jurgen Klopp, but you'd never see that long diagonal ball hit. They're hitting that ball this season. They can also play inside the midfield areas, but they're also hitting the long ball, the diagonal ball. It just stretches defences. It keeps them unpredictable to sides, and you can't press a side that can either play out or release a ball at the back. How do you stop that? You can't press from the front, you can't press from the midfield because you're going to leave holes and gaps for them to play through you. So the accurate long ball stat, Dominic Szoboszlai, it shows. He's been more involved this season. Liverpool fans have been harking on about how good he looks this season. Yes, he started last season off well, but it was more of a finisher, almost a second striker in many regards towards the start of last season, then faded away as the year went on. Still played well, but wasn't making that impact. But what I've seen this season from Szoboszlai, you'll see it from his heat map as well. It's more central. He's owning that sort of 30, 40 yards outside the box. That's where he's doing a lot of his work. That's where he's linking up with the midfielders behind him and setting up the likes of Luis Diaz and Mohamed Salah going forward as well. It helps having Diogo Jota, a more mobile forward, in front of him as well, but he's owning the centre of the park. That's the key for Arne Slot's Liverpool side, own the middle of the park. Next player, Ryan Gravenberch, someone who's underutilised last season, but we forget an Ajax product, gone to Bayern Munich, a lot of money there, a lot of belief he could come and be the next big thing at the club. They were overpopulated, too many midfielders, the likes of manager changes, made him fall out of play. So Jurgen Klopp brings him across last season, again, underutilised. He was getting a bit of form before he got injured, before that Carabao Cup final, and that sort of halted his form and his run last season. What we've seen this year is he being utilised in a double pivot at the 6. And you know what? Congratulations, Arne Slot. You found the place from Ryan Gravenberch. I know a lot of Liverpool fans think he is an 8 at heart, but I think we saw with Wataru Endo last season, whoever works alongside Alexis McAllister is made to look fantastic. As a double pivot, they work so well. If you look at Gravenberch's stat, 7.23 match rating, up from a 6.9, I believe, last season. 74 touches per game this year versus 28.8 last season. So he's getting a lot more on the ball, and he's pivotal to the way Liverpool play their football. All his passing stats are up around 5 to 6% in terms of accuracy. He's making 40 more passes per game. His interceptions have gone up from 2.3 at 2.3 from 0.5 last season. So 1.8 increase there. 2.7 tackles per game versus just the 1 per game last season. He's making 5.3 ball recoveries per game versus 2.8 last season. He's winning 5.7 duels per game versus 2.8 last season. He's playing more centrally as well. He's playing at that proper number 6, sometimes in double pivot alongside Alexis McAllister. But what we saw from him last season was forced out towards a less central midfield position, sometimes almost a second attacking midfielder or a left winger at times due to the injuries at Liverpool. He was underutilised. You didn't get to see the body, the size, the physique, that energizer in midfield. That's what he is. He's a big body. He can throw his weight around. And when he gets on the ball, so technically gifted, so skilled, he can play out of presses. He can play out of tight areas. And his ability to win the ball back, I didn't know he had this in his locker. He's absolutely showing that he does. Again, versus Manchester United, that first half, no one could pass the ball. The one player that was able to play the smart pass, to see the pass and to convert and then to win the ball back was Ryan Gravenberch. He covered every blade of grass at Old Trafford and blessed every blade of grass because every time he got on the ball, it was positive. It was a dynamic movement when he was dribbling in possession. He won the ball back convincingly and kept the ball. It was a different level with like a Casemiro, Kobe Mainoo, Alexis McAllister on that same pitch. He looked head and shoulders above those players, and they're all capable of putting up fantastic performances. But Ryan Gravenberch stood out. And if you look back to the first game versus Ipswich to start the season off, a slow first half, come the second half though, who gets more involved? Dominic Szoboszlai and also Ryan Gravenberch, and the game changes. One-touch passing, utilising the middle of the park and driving into spaces. And that's what Gravenberch has done well. He's playing in number 6, but we know he's a number 8, so he's got that ability to drive forward and open up spaces and then overload attacking areas that you got to then collapse in. You have to collapse when a player like Ryan Gravenberch gets on the ball, turns and drives. And as such, guess who's free? Luis Diaz, Diogo Jota, Mohamed Salah. And that's the rest is history from there. They score goals. The final player, someone who I've been raving about since the start of last season, is Alexis McAllister. Stats have gone slightly more down in this new position. He's playing alongside Ryan Gravenberch and almost in unison as a midfield 3, similar to how Aston Villa and Unai Emery sets up his midfield. It's a fluid rotational triangle. There's no real one position. You play as a midfield trio and you drop it at times, you push on at times. So McAllister isn't required to pick the ball up and play on the half spin or play out of the press. He's got help there with Gravenberch and Szoboszlai dropping in at times alongside him. So his match rating stayed around the same mark, 6.97. Still getting 66 touches per game, 1 key pass per game, 86% pass accuracy, 2.7 tackles per game, 6 ball recoveries per game, which has gone up, 1.3 clearances per game, which has gone up as well, and the 5.7 duels won per game, which is smack bang as it was last season. So yes, he might not have improved like the other two have, but you can't expect all three of them to improve because then it'll be ridiculous. But this Liverpool side, the point being, all three of them are working very closely together, similar to Aston Villa last season. Douglas Luiz, Boubacar Kamara, John McGinn. And we saw how much success that midfield three had at the start of last season, especially, I guess, for the first 28 games. They beat the big sides like Arsenal and City. They took it to like United. They beat Chelsea. They were so dominant at home because that midfield three, they could all defend. They were all capable in the ball, and they were all capable of playing in tight areas down the centre of the park. And I think that's what Liverpool are this season. They're a team that has modified their style of football, and Arne Slot, a smart manager that utilises the centre of the pitch. And yes, Trent and Robbo are less involved, but they're still very important to the system. They're still getting wide areas. They still stretch defences, and they're still going to get balls into the box. But there's a more reliance now on playing with one-touch football in the middle of the park, and it's causing all sorts of problems. On the weekend, I said on the podcast, it simply put, Manchester United were not fit enough, and they're not skilled enough, and they didn't work hard enough. And those sort of three titles, those 3 points I raised, you can all relate them back to the midfield. Ryan Gravenberch, Alexis McAllister, Dominic Szoboszlai, they look fitter. They were more skilled on the football. They worked hard with and without the football to make the ball ping about. And that's the thing. Liverpool's ball movement now, it pings around. The ball flies from feet to feet, in and out of possession. The ball is zipping up the football pitch, and that's why it's so hard to counteract, counter-press, and to stop, because it's just delightful football. It's irresistible football, the one-touch play. And when you get a player like Gravenberch turning, when you get Alexis McAllister driving into spaces, good luck stopping this side. Because as I said, then you've got the Mo Salah, and then you've got the Luis Diaz's of the world dominating. Some of their stats start the season off. Salah, 8.4 average match rating, 3 goals, 3 assists, 51 touches per game, so it's heavily involved in terms of getting the football. 4 big chances created so far this season, 1.7 key passes per game, outperforming both XG and XA, and the 1.3 successful dribbles per game, going at about 56% for successful dribbles this season. Luis Diaz, who's been the shining star in this new system, getting so much ball and so much output. 8.17 average match rating, 3 goals, 1 assist, more clinical this season. He's finishing his chances off this season. 2.3 successful dribbles per game, 2.3 key passes per game. And what is the key thing I saw in both these players in their heat map versus last season versus this season, especially Luis Diaz, is they're staying higher up the pitch. They're not being forced to push back. And that's because of this new system. There's not this same pressing system. We have to drop in to get the ball. It's more convincing in possession that these wingers don't have to come back and help out, get the ball up the pitch. You trust that midfield three and the style of football that Arne Slot's playing, that these wingers can stay high and wide and they can stretch back lines, and their job is just to finish their chances off. And you're seeing Luis Diaz be more clinical. You're seeing Mo Salah look fresh and look like he's firing for a goal yet again. This is a new era under Arne Slot, and it's absolutely working. That's what this video is all about. The little subtle changes that I've seen this season for Liverpool. We saw it in the pre-season. He's implemented it as the year's gone on. Now we've come to the start of the league season, and they're firing. You know, outside of Man City, or maybe even equal with Man City, they're the best team in the league. They're playing some great football. They've got the attacking output to equal City and, you know, equal the look of Tottenham. But defensively, the best team in the league. Who would have thought that? People keep questioning, can Van Dijk keep doing it? Do you need a 6? Is Robertson the answer these days? Is he past it? Is Trent really a defensive fullback? But those questions have been answered. They haven't conceded a goal. They haven't looked likely conceding a goal in any game. Brentford kept them out. Man United blunt in the final third. Ipswich probably came the closest, and that was because home game, first game of the season, newly promoted side. It makes sense. But outside of that, they've been faultless at the back. It's just all-round encapsulated a fantastic system. And I think, I strongly believe, last season I backed them all the way. I think they can take it to City again. I think they can take it deep into the season as a title race. Will they go the way? Possibly not. I just think the legs might eventually fall away. But because this is less of an energetic system, there's less occasion them coming from behind already this season. Maybe the legs might remain there. Maybe they might stay fitter for longer and be able to push these two teams, Arsenal and City, for longer. I think they're better placed than Arsenal. That's just my opinion. That's just my feel on things. I just see it with Liverpool, a more convincing side. And when their back's against the wall, they'll find a way to get the job done. And when things aren't working, they know how to adjust. And yes, we haven't seen how Arne Slot adjusts in mid-game. We haven't seen him concede yet, so we don't know how he will come back from that sort of situation. But the coolness and calmness that he exuberates and that the team is now letting off, you can see it. It's a calm and collected team. It's not that high energetic, emotion-filled team. it just feels like no matter what comes in their way, they'll find a way to answer it, and they're not going to go over the top. Even look on the touchline, Jurgen Klopp up and down, running on the touchline. Arne Slot, little fist to himself and gets the job done. Isn't yelling, isn't making a big fuss of things. He's a cool, calm, collected character. You feel the energy off Arne Slot, and you can feel that same energy off his team. It's a cool, calm, and collected team that is getting the job done. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. That's just the way I've seen Liverpool. Obviously, watching the game intently and watching a lot of Liverpool games intently throughout the season, especially versus Manchester United. You can see this man is a tactical brain. He's picking apart teams, and he's developed a great system at Liverpool. And yes, the questions are about the sales and who is being signed and can he replace Jurgen Klopp, but he's gone about in his own manner, and I think that's just fantastic, and that's what a manager has to be all about. Bring your system across, bring your philosophy across, and you don't have to sign anyone if you believe you've got what it takes to compete. I think Arne Slot's all about that for me. As I said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Am I right? Am I totally wrong? I'm really open to hear your opinions on that. Let me know your thoughts on Arne Slot and Liverpool's chances for the title this season. Can they go all the way? Can they compete with Arsenal and City through all 38 match weeks? And do you see them winning the Premier League title as it currently stands? Because they've started the season absolutely on fire. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Please smash a like on it. Subscribe to the Players Zone channel for more videos like these, and press that post notification bell so you know we upload more videos and podcasts here on the channel. With that being said, I hope you have a great day. Enjoy the rest of the week. Enjoy the week off Premier League action. And I'll see you guys in the video very, very soon. Until next time, guys. See you later.